Ruthless, Di Beichun, not only Cui Haoyin, Gong Shaoqing, and others also showed guilt on their faces. Normally, they are very successful in the academy, but since coming to Qingshao Kingdom, they discovered the gap between them and others. In front of this huge royal family, their power seemed so weak, except for Bailey Hongzhuang's ability to confront Nangong Oe. They were completely under control. If it wasn't for Di Beichun's arrival, perhaps they would have to die today in the royal arena and never come out again. We are truly useless. Hongzhuang was seriously injured, yet she wanted to protect us. Xia Jiqing lowered her head. She knew that Hongzhuang's injuries must be very severe, and with the delay, it was very detrimental to Hongzhuang's injuries. Even though she has returned, when she thinks of the scene in the royal arena where they fought, she felt an indescribable anger and hatred in her heart. However, when facing Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichun, she only felt guilty. Di Beichun looked at the guilty expressions on everyone's faces, and his expression softened a bit as he comforted them. This matter has exceeded everyone's expectations. You don't have to blame yourselves. Hearing Di Beichun's reassurance, the guilt in everyone's hearts did not dissipate. Today's scene really had an impact on them. No matter how arrogant they are, only after they have gone to a wider world could they understand the gap between them and those with great power. This huge gap simply cannot be crossed with just their own strength. Noticing the changes in everyone's expressions, Di Beichun did not say much. They will see the so-called reality sooner or later, and it is not a bad thing to understand it sooner. Once their mindset is completely transformed, their mindset will be more peaceful, and it will be more helpful for future growth. Everyone is already tired today. Why don't you go to rest first? Di Beichun said slowly. After what happened today, everyone was tired both physically and mentally. After Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries improve a little, they will leave. He believed that the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom would immediately block today's news, but their continued stay in Qingshao Kingdom would attract the attention of interested people. Leaving earlier can also save some trouble. Everyone listened and nodded. They had already learned about Bailey Hongzhuang's condition from the doctor and feared that she would need to rest for a while. Although the injuries were very serious, fortunately, it did not hurt her foundation. As long as she was given a certain amount of time, she would be able to recover completely. After everyone left, a deep and fierce light appeared in Di Beichun's eyes. Nangong Aochin dared to hurt Hongzhuang to such an extent. He naturally couldn't watch Nangong Aochin become the heir to Qingshao Kingdom. Whoever dares to hurt Hongzhuang, he will not let go. It's just that it's still early. Once it is nighttime, he needs to go out to solve some issues. However, just as Di Beichun returned to the house, Huan Chuyu came to look for him. Vice Principal, Di Beichun poured a cup of tea for Huan Chuyu. Do you have something you need to tell me? Huan Chuyu looked deeply at Di Beichun, who has always been a clever person. Di Beichun's deep love for Bailey Hongzhuang also shocked him. How are Hongzhuang's injuries? Excessive blood loss, broken ribs, and some internal injuries, but they can recover after a period of recuperation. Di Beichun said slowly. Decision. Di Beichun's expression was calm and composed. He knew that Huan Chuyu was here to see him for a reason. It's just that Huan Chuyu didn't say anything, and he wasn't in a hurry. Huan Chuyu looked at Di Beichun's indifferent expression, and there was a gleam of admiration in his eyes. The young master of the Tiangang sect is indeed not an ordinary person, just as bearing alone is not comparable to that of an ordinary young person. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is heavily guarded. After what happened today, the entire royal family will definitely strengthen their patrols. They may have already set up a trap. Based on Huan Chuyu's understanding of Di Beichun would definitely not just stand by and watch Bailey Hongzhuang get hurt without doing anything. And if he could predict that, the royal family would naturally be able to predict it too. Today's events have already made the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom look bad, and now that something like this has happened, the royal family will definitely be more careful. It would be fine if Di Beichun was with members of the Tiangang sect, but if he went alone, the royal family might do something crazy. As Huan Chuyu's words fell, Di Beichun's expression changed slightly. to be able to become the vice principal of Kanglin Academy. Huan Chuyo's foresight is not ordinary. He understood that Huan Chuyo's reminder to him at this moment was only for his safety. Needless to say, it is an easy thing to crush the Qingshao kingdom with the power of the entire Tiangang sect. However, right now he is only one person in Qingshao kingdom, and it is undoubtedly very difficult for him to deal with the royal family by himself. Huan Chuyo noticed the change in Di Beichen's expression and knew that Di Beichen listened to his words. Bailey Hongzhuang still needs your care. After Huan Chuyo left this statement, he left calmly. He had already said everything he needed to say. As for what Di Beichen would do, it was up to his own decision. When they crossed the border of Qingshao Kingdom, everything in Qingshao Kingdom will have nothing to do with them. Risking their lives is unnecessary. After Huan Chuyo left, Di Beichen drank all the tea up. Perhaps what Huan Chuyo said had some truth. But he was Di Beichen. He absolutely will not allow the person who hurt his wife to live in peace. From a moment they dared to treat Hongzhuang like that, this outcome was already destined. Night gradually descended, and the entire Qingshao kingdom was shrouded in a layer of darkness. The atmosphere in the imperial city today seems different. All the people in the imperial city were very curious about the final result of the Academy Exchange competition. The Academy Exchange competition they watched 2 days ago was very enjoyable. The strength of the cultivators from the 3 major academies was not to be underestimated, especially with the emergence of a dark horse like Bailey Hongzhuang from Kanglin Academy. They felt that today's finals was very exciting. Just as they eagerly awaited the final outcome, there was not a single word about the final match. All the people who watched the finals were silent, as if it was a big taboo, so much so that they didn't know anything about the finals. But the more the other party kept silent, the more they realized that there was something fishy going on. After all, previous Academy Exchange matches were not like this. What on earth happened? Everyone kept guessing, but there was no result. Di Beichen checked Bailey Hongzhuang's condition and saw that she was sleeping soundly. His gaze quietly fell out the window. The night was getting dark. Collision between love rivals. Di Beichen covered Bailey Hongzhuang with a quilt and left a soft kiss on her forehead. The next moment, Di Beichen disappeared from the room. Royal Palace. Di Beichen flew swiftly through the night. He had already inquired about the location of the crown prince, and even with the multiple protections on the royal family, he felt as if killing Nangong Aochin would be as easy. However, just when Di Beichen was about to arrive at the prince's bedroom, a black figure appeared not far from him. Seeing this black figure, Di Beichen's eyes became darker and darker. He did not expect to meet Mo Yunjue here. It seems that the purpose of their trip tonight is the same. When Mo Yunjue saw Di Beichen, the surprise in his eyes quickly disappeared, and he immediately revealed a faint smile. It seems that Di Beichen has deep feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang. Even though the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom had lost face to him in front of everyone today, he still did not feel happy. So, he wanted to come and kill Nangong Aochin. As a man, he understands men best. Just by looking at Di Beichen's eyes, he already understood Di Beichen's determination to kill Nangong Aochin. Di Beichen didn't like Mo Yunjue, and he had never seen Mo Yunjue before. But from the moment he saw Mo Yunjue, he knew that Mo Yunjue was not an ordinary person. At the very least, there must be an extremely powerful force behind Mo Yunjue. Otherwise, a mere restaurant owner would not have the courage to confront the royal family. Not to mention, Mo Yunjue also dealt with the royal guards outside. When they left, Mo Yunjue remained in the royal arena, but he came out safe and sound. This alone is enough to prove Mo Yunjue's strength. The two looked at each other, and their hearts were full of turmoil. War between men has always been intense. I am very grateful for your care of Hongzhuang before, but if you have any unreasonable thoughts, I hope you can cut them off. Di Beichen's voice was slightly deep. He saw the persistent light in Mo Yunjue's eyes. All those who have bad intentions against Hongzhuang are his opponents. Hearing this, Mo Yunjue chuckled lightly. Master Di is really domineering. Even if Hong Zhuang is already intended for you, you are not worthy of the title husband and wife. Maybe there will be changes in the future, and this situation may change. After all, Han Shilling is not someone who will give up easily. As Mo Yunjue's words fell, Di Beichen's deep, dark eyes filled with a sharp light. Mo Yunjue knew so much about the situation between him and Hong Zhuang. So far, he and Hong Zhuang only have the name of husband and wife, and no one should know the truth about it except him and Hong Zhuang. But Mo Yunjue knew. Could it be that Hong Zhuang told him? As soon as this idea emerged, it was rejected by Di Beichen. It was impossible for Hong Zhuang to talk about it. What's more, based on his understanding of Hong Zhuang, she would never deny these things because she wanted to spend a lifetime with him. In this way, Mo Yunjue's attention to Hong Zhuang is not ordinary. That even this kind of thing can be found out shows that Mo Yunjue's methods are very good. This is a matter between me and Hong Zhuang. You don't need to worry about it. Di Beichen's voice was cold. He had already spoken to this point. If Mo Yunjue still chose to act this way, then they could only be enemies. Trying to steal a chicken, but losing the rice instead won. If you treat Hong Zhuang well, I naturally have no chance, but if you don't, then I won't be polite. Mo Yunjue's eyes seemed to flash a cold light with a hint of a smile. He knew that he was not in Hong Zhuang's heart now. However, the current situation did not represent the final outcome. From the earlier confrontation between Bailey Hong Zhuang and Han Shilling at the ruins, it could be seen that if Di Beichen's attitude is not decisive enough in dealing with this matter, the situation may change. He has one advantage, which is that he never gets impatient. Looking at Mo Yunjue's appearance, Di Beichen's eyes narrowed slightly. It seems that he has really encountered a formidable opponent. The other party clearly knew his identity, yet still dared to do this. His identity is truly worth investigating. He has to investigate it. After all, Mo Yunjue has investigated his affairs so clearly. Naturally, he also needs to understand. Then, I'm afraid you are wasting your time. Di Beichen lazily looked at Mo Yunjue, but his handsome eyes, as deep as the sea, shone with seriousness and determination. He will never allow anyone to step in between Hong Zhuang and himself. In the next moment, Di Beichen's figure swept past and continued to move towards the bedroom where Nangong Aochen was located. Now that things have come to this, there is nothing positive to say between him and Mo Yunjue. He will not give Mo Yunjue any chance. Mo Yunjue didn't care, and also swept towards Nangong Aochen's bedroom. Qingshao Kingdom's royal family has gone too far this time, and they should indeed pay a price. This Nangong Aochen's life cannot be kept. Just as Huan Chuyu thought, the royal family understood that Di Beichen would not easily leave. They had already protected the place where Nangong Aochen lived. However, what happened next exceeded their expectations. Because Nangong Aochen suddenly had a high fever that could not be controlled, and all the imperial doctors were at a loss after examining him. In a short period of time, Nangong Aochen had already lost consciousness and was confused. His injuries showed no sign of healing at all. After learning about this, Nangong Oe was furious. Nangong Aochen's experience today was a great shame, and after returning, he even became like this. Nangong Oe's mood can be imagined. However, after Nangong Oe knew that Bailey Hong Zhuang had fed Nangong Aochen a pill, his expression changed a bit. He naturally knew that Bailey Hong Zhuang was an alchemist, and at such a critical moment, the thing that Bailey Hong Zhuang fed Nangong Aochen would not be something good. Nangong Oe looked at the imperial physician kneeling on the ground and said furiously, "Hurry and go invite the alchemist. Aochen's current state is definitely caused by Bailey Hong Zhuang." Yes. The imperial physician scrambled off the ground as he left. Nangong Aochen's status in Qingshao Kingdom is extremely important. If something happened to Nangong Aochen, I'm afraid their lives would be lost. Nangong Oe's expression was extremely unpleasant. Bailey Hong Zhuang is an alchemist, and the things she takes out can only be solved by alchemists. In this academy exchange match, the royal family did make a wrong decision. and now it's truly a case of trying to steal a chicken but losing the rice instead. Tu Nangong Aochin has become like this. Even if he had dealt with it as soon as he came back, his hand tendons were pricked, and it would still very difficult to recover. TL/N1 trying to gain advantage. Only ending up worse off. 2 try to gain advantage. Only ending up worse off. Concern Di Beichun when Di Beichun and Mo Yunjue came to Nangong Aochin's bedroom. They saw this scene. They didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang had even fed Nangong Aochin a pill. Judging from the helpless situation of these people, they could tell that Bailey Hongzhuang's attack was sufficiently ruthless. She had already decided not to let Nangong Aochin go. Di Beichun and Mo Yunjue were both astonished. An ordinary woman would not know how to handle such a situation. However, Bailey Hongzhuang not only dealt with it calmly, but even had a solution in mind, which was truly astonishing. After seeing this, a realization shone in Di Beichun's eyes. He understands the medical skills of Hongzhuang, but if she had already taken action, then she would surely not let Nangong Aochin be detoxified so easily. It seems that Hongzhuang had already thought of everything, and his trip was in vain. Hongzhuang is really amazing. We've been outdone. Mo Yunjue's eyes glowed with admiration. Bailey Hongzhuang was both smart and brave, showing no mercy towards her enemies. It's hard to imagine that such an outstanding woman grew up in such an environment. Di Beichun glanced at Mo Yunjue and left the palace in a flash. Mo Yunjue watched as Di Beichun left. A meaningful smile spread across his lips. Perhaps he was late compared to Di Beichun, but that didn't mean that he will always be late in the future. With a flash of his body, Mo Yunjue's figure also disappeared into the darkness. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang woke up leisurely, and when she opened her eyes, she saw Di Beichun beside the bed. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang waking up, a joyful smile appeared in Di Beichun's eyes. "Wife, you are awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly and shook her head. "No." Di Beichun poured a glass of water for Bailey Hongzhuang and gently fed it to her. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was just saying that. The pain for broken ribs is not something that one can recover from in a short period of time, but his wife has always been strong, not wanting to cause anyone worry. "My dear, you must be hungry. I'll go call someone to warm up the food for you." Di Beichun's eyes were filled with tenderness and doting. After yesterday's battle, Hongzhuang had not eaten anything. She must be very hungry. He had already had a meal prepared, but he didn't know when Hongzhuang would wake up. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Di Beichun's bustling figure with a happy smile on her lips. She thought it would be very difficult to leave the royal arena alive. But now, not only did she survive, everyone was also unharmed. She felt very lucky. Although her wounds were still painful, the pain had undoubtedly improved compared to what she had suffered from earlier. "Master, how are your injuries?" The eyes of Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi were full of concern, as they felt very sad seeing their master so injured. Bailey Hongzhuang reached out and touched the heads of the three little guys, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'm fine. You should be hungry too. I'll ask Di Beichun to prepare some food for you in a moment." Listening to her words, the three beasts did not show any joy. Compared to eating, the most important thing at this moment is the safety of a master. Introduction, little buddies. Master, if we encounter that kind of situation again, don't worry about the others. Let Xiao Bai and I handle it. Xiao Hei's eyes gleamed with a serious and stubborn light. He understood that the reason why the master didn't let him and Xiao Bai fight was because of concern for their safety. But, seeing their master hurt, they felt even more sad. This feeling of powerlessness made them go crazy, especially Xiao Bai. "Yes, we can't always do this. Everyone will know sooner or later," Xiao Bai said seriously. Looking at the serious glint in Xiao He and Xiao Bai's eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang also saw a hint of contemplation in their eyes. Not to mention other things, just the news that she was able to contract 3 beasts by herself would shock many people. Xiao He and Xiao Bai's strength is so outstanding, they would shock everyone even more. However, She also understands Xiao He and Xiao Bai's thoughts. Even Bai Shi is well known by everyone, but they are invisible. Xiao He and Xiao Bai must feel uncomfortable inside. Indeed, she should not continue to hide them anymore. Xiao He and Xiao Bai should also appear openly to everyone. Just when Bailey Hongzhuang was about to speak, Di Beichan returned with a meal. Xiao He and Xiao Bai swooped back to Bailey Hongzhuang's head a second before Di Beichan appeared. Only Bai Shi was still beside Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was even more deeply moved. Xiao He and Xiao Bai were also her partners. The previous treatment was indeed unfair to Xiao He and Xiao Bai. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's thoughtful expression, Di Beichan couldn't help asking, "Wife, what are you thinking about?" Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and said, "Beichan, come here first." With a faint smile on the corners of Di Beichan's lips, he walked over and sat down on the edge of Bailey Hongzhuang's bed. "Wife, what do you want to tell me?" "Beichan, I want to introduce two of my little friends to you." Hearing this, Di Beichan's eyes showed a hint of surprise. "Little friends?" Di Beichan's gaze scanned the room. There was no one else in the room except him and his wife. Could it be that the opponent's strength is so strong that he even escaped his perception? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly, and the next moment, she reached out and grabbed Xiao He and Xiao Bai off her head and said, "It's these two." She trusts Di Beichan enough. Since they have already decided to be together, she doesn't want to hide anything from him anymore. Xiao He and Xiao Bai were surprised by Bailey Hongzhuang's actions. Although they had expressed their thoughts to their master earlier, they did not expect the master to decide so quickly. After Bailey Hongzhuang's gesture, Xiao He and Xiao Bai gradually became the same size as the white lion. Di Beichan looked at the suddenly enlarged Xiao He and Xiao Bai in front of him with a deep look of surprise in his eyes. This is his deep eyes, as vast as the sea, were full of unspeakable shock. Even Di Beichan felt that this scene was truly shocking. He had noticed the black and white bead flowers on Bailey Hongzhuang's hair before, but he just thought that she just liked these bead flowers a lot, and he never thought much about it. But who would have thought that these two bead flowers would be two monsters? This is too shocking. The soft cushion back then? Let me introduce you. This is Xiao He, and this is Xiao Bai. They're my contract beasts, just like Bai Shi. Bailey Hongzhuang stroked the fluffy heads of Xiao He and Xiao Bai with an elegant and perfect smile on her face. Di Beichan looked at Xiao He and Xiao Bai in front of him. At first glance, these two little guys looked like two fluffy balls, but upon closer inspection, he noticed that both of them had noses and eyes and were very cute. "Hongzhuang, you said that the black one is called Xiao Bai, and the white one is called Xiao He?" Di Beichan couldn't help but be surprised when he heard the names of Xiao He and Xiao Bai. These names are the opposite of their appearance. The smile in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes deepened. "That's right, I gave them their names." Hearing this, Di Beichan nodded slightly. This is indeed very creative. Seeing Di Beichan's expression, Bailey Hongzhuang understood that Di Beichan was very frustrated with these two names, but she was very satisfied with these two names. "Do you mean that you have 3 contracted beasts?" A serious look appeared in Di Beichan's eyes. He did not miss the point of Bailey Hongzhuang's words. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. "That's right, Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi are all my contracted beasts, but I thought it would be shocking if the news got out, so I didn't say it all the time. There's no need to keep hiding it." Di Beichan frowned slightly. Almost everyone on the Shengxian continent knows about contracted beasts, but similarly, everyone knows that a cultivator can only contract with a single contracted beast. That's why cultivators are especially careful when making a contract with a magical beast, because they only have one chance in a lifetime. Once you have missed the opportunity, there will be no room for any changes in the future. However, Bailey Hongzhuang was able to contract 3 beasts. This news was too shocking. This news is indeed surprising. When did you contract Xiao He and Xiao Bai? Although Di Beichan was very surprised by the news, he always believed that the world is big and anything can happen. However, when looking at Xiao He and Xiao Bai, Di Beichan felt a familiarity, as if he had seen these two little guys somewhere before. Why do I feel that these two little guys are very familiar? Di Baichen furrowed his eyebrows. When did he meet them before? Hearing Di Baichen's words, Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly startled, and then the smile in her eyes deepened again. Speaking of which, Di Baichen, Xiao He, and Xiao Bai have indeed seen each other before. Suddenly, Di Baichen's eyes froze, and an incredible light flashed in his eyes. Wife, when you and I met for the first time, that cushion. Ha! After Di Baichen's comment, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but chuck. It seems that your memory is very good. At that time, she used Xiao He and Xiao Bai to catch Di Baichen, but everyone thought that Xiao He and Xiao Bai were just a cushion, and no one thought much about it. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang confirmed his guess, Di Baichen's expression of surprise increased. He never thought that it was actually like this. I made a contract with Xiao He and Xiao Bai before we met, and they were the ones who have accompanied me all this time. Bailey Hongzhuang had a warm and bright smile on her lips. Because Xiao He and Xiao Bai had been by her side all this time, she never felt alone. Don't move, I'll feed you, so before you contracted by sure, you already had 2 contracted beasts? Di Baichen was a little surprised. Although contracted beasts are known to all cultivators of the Shengxian continent, it was very difficult for an ordinary cultivator to successfully find even one contracted beast. With Bailey Hongzhuang's status in the general's mansion back then, not to mention contracting 2 beasts, she normally would not have even see the shadow of a contracted beast. It seems that Bailey Hongzhuang must be some unknown secrets. However, Di Baichen was not concerned about these secrets. Bailey Hongzhuang was willing to tell him about Xiao He and Xiao Bai, which already proved her trust in him. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded lightly. That's right, Baichen. Do you know if there are people in the Shengxian continent who can contract more than 1 beast? According to what Xiao He and Xiao Bai said, she is the master of the Ring of Chaos, so there is no limit to the number of contracted beasts. There is no doubt that the Shengxian continent of today is vastly different from the one 1,000 years ago, and she is not ignorant of the situation in this regard. Di Baichen thought for a moment and shook his head slightly. As far as I know, a cultivator can only contract 1 beast. So far, I have never seen a cultivator who can contract more than 1 beast except you. However, having this ability is undoubtedly a great thing for you. At least you have many helpers. Di Baichen's eyes were filled with admiration. Hongzhuang always managed to amaze him. This kind of ability that he had never seen before could also appear in Hongzhuang. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. So far, her 3 contracted beasts are stronger than her. As the master, she is under a huge amount of pressure. Di Baichen assessed Xiao He and Xiao Bai, and he could faintly sense some fluctuations from these 2 little fellows. It seems that these 2 little guys are also very strong. Thinking of this, Di Baichen also feels a little relieved. If his wife always has a lot of help around her, at least the danger will be been reduced a lot. Baichen, Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi are also hungry. Can you? Before Bailey Hongzhuang finished speaking, Di Baichen understood. I'll send someone to prepare something immediately. Xiao He and Xiao Bai looked at each other, and their eyes flashed with excitement. Judging from this attitude, there is no need for them to hide from now on. Haha! Xiao He and Xiao Bai rolled around excitedly. They are finally able to reappear in public. Di Baichen brought the food to Bailey Hongzhuang. When Bailey Hongzhuang was about to take the food, she felt some pain in her arm. Don't move, I'll feed you. Hearing Di Baichen's domineering yet gentle words, Bailey Hongzhuang blushed a little. No one had ever fed her before. What's more, this person is Di Baichen. Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with a narrow gaze. This kind of atmosphere is really ambiguous. Bailey Hongzhuang glared at the 3 beasts. These 3 guys were not usually excited about things like this. Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi immediately raised their paws to cover their eyes. I don't see anything. There was a helpless light in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Their paws were open wide, clearly not blocking their eyes, okay? Seeing this, Di Baichen couldn't help but chuckle. The 3 contracted beasts of his lady are really lively. Poisoned, Nangong Aochin, while Bailey Hongzhuang was recuperating, news spread that Nangong Aochin was seriously ill. The group was at a loss. Even the alchemist masters of the Alchemist Guild were unable to think of a solution. This disease is truly rare. No matter how much they researched, they could not solve it. After the news spread, everyone was surprised. They didn't know how the good crown prince could have such a strange disease. Only members of the royal family knew that Nangong Aochin fell into such a situation because of the elixir fed to him by Bailey Hongzhuang. Today, Nangong Aochin is already delirious, and his body is losing weight at an extremely rapid rate. If a cure cannot be found, then Nangong Aochin is likely to die. This news is undoubtedly a bolt from the blue for the Qingshao Kingdom royal family. Nangong Aochin is understood to be the best successor of the Qingshao Kingdom royal family. No matter what the aspect is, he is a best choice. However, now that Nangong Aochin has fallen into such a situation and Nangong Xiujie has been assassinated, if Nangong Aochin cannot recover, then there will really be no suitable candidate for the next ruler of Qingshao Kingdom. A cheerful smile appeared on Xia Jiqing's face. Those who persist in doing evil will self-destruct. What the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom did was so disgusting. Nangong Aochin deserves to have ended up this way. I can't wait for Nangong Aochin to die. Whenever I think of Nangong Aochin and Nangong Oi's appearance that day, I can't help but want to kill them myself. Zhang Yunfeng's voice was resolute. The huge royal family actually wanted to kill them just to create a favorable image for Nangong Aochin. Even though it has been a few days, she can still vividly remember the original situation, and her hatred for Qingshao Kingdom could not be quelled. Not only Zhang Yunfeng, Cui Haoyin and the others did not have the slightest positive impression of Nangong Aochin and the others. If the other party died, they would feel happy. In that situation back then, the royal family completely oppressed people with their power and didn't even take their lives into consideration. Most importantly, they didn't do anything wrong, and the royal family's actions were totally unacceptable. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression is calm. Among all people, she probably hates the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom the most. Xia Jiqing and the others are all her friends, but just to put Nangong Aochin into the limelight, they wanted to wipe them out. Instead, she obliterated Nangong Aochin. She has never been soft-hearted towards her enemies. As early as when she fed poison to Nangong Aochin, she had already made up her mind that Nangong Aochin must die. Not only that, members of the royal family must also be punished. Since he wanted them to be a stepping stone for Nangong Aochin, she will make the entire royal family pay for it. Chu Jio and others were very helpless. Nangong Oi invited them into the palace to detoxify Nangong Aochin, but they had never seen such a rare poison. Even though they have tried every possible way, it still didn't work. The toxin is simply beyond their understanding. Almost at the first moment of contact with this poison, Chu Jio and others had already determined that the person who poisoned Nangong Aochin was a master of using poisons. Otherwise, this poison would not be so difficult to solve. However, according to Nangong Oi, this poison was actually made by Bailey Hongzhuang. When they heard the news, they couldn't believe it. There is a big difference between an alchemist and a poisoner. Most of the alchemists following alchemy formulas to make pills, but a poison master studies medicine. It seems similar, but it is completely different. Difficult. Chu Jio, they have understood Bailey Hongzhuang's talent in alchemy to a certain extent, but they had no idea that Bailey Hongzhuang had such a talent in the poison arts. The first time they heard about it, they couldn't believe it. It is incredible that someone as young as Bailey Hongzhuang can achieve such results in cultivation, alchemy, and inscriptions. Poison techniques are equally complex, and the effort required to delve into this field is certainly not small. How could Bailey Hongzhuang have so much energy to study these things? If this is the case, Bailey Hongzhuang is really a genius. However, the confident tone of Nangong Ouyang left no room for doubt. With his identity, if he said so, there must be enough solid evidence. With the existence of Bewitching, Nangong Oui could not use his power to pressure Bailey Hongzhuang, to save Nangong Aochin. Because of what happened earlier, Bailey Hongzhuang probably hated him to the extreme, so if he went to ask for an antidote, it would absolutely be futile. Nangong Oe knew that the relationship between Chu Jio and Huan Chuyu was very good. As long as Chu Jio and the three helped, Nangong Aochin might still have a chance. As for this, Chu Jio and the other two could be said to be exceptionally helpless. Although they did not watch the final match, news travels fast, and they also learned about the finals outcome. To put it simply, this is the royal family using their power to oppress people. Even if Bailey Hongzhuang gave Nangong Aochin poison, it was probably because she felt she couldn't survive, so she poisoned him. If it were them, no matter how magnanimous they might be, they would not be able to give out the antidote. After all, it was the royal family who wanted to take their lives. They were just forced to counterattack. In my opinion, it is absolutely impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to give up with the antidote. Chen Yiyu's tone was full of certainty. Although he only met Bai Li Hongzwang at the alchemy competition, he knows that Bai Li Hongzwang is a person with strong opinions and is not easily swayed. Just from Bailey Hongzhuang's treatment of Wei Hanyun, one could see that she has never been lenient towards her enemies. Now, it is undoubtedly very difficult for them to ask Bailey Hongzhuang for the elixir. However, dealing with the Emperor's command is difficult. They have stayed in Qingshao Kingdom for many years, and the royal family has taken good care of them. If possible, they would like to avoid this matter. It's true that the royal family has gone too far in this matter. Moreover, Bailey Hongzhuang, being the wife of Di Beichun, is not afraid of the royal family, so it is really difficult. Lin Hao's eyes reflected a little helplessness, as this kind of thing is really difficult for them to do. We're just going to give it a try. If Bailey Hongzhuang doesn't want to, there's nothing we can do. Chu Jio's face was also held a contemplative expression. They didn't guarantee that they would be successful. They were just going to inquire because of the years of the royal family's support over the years. If Bailey Hongzhuang was not willing, they would not force her. I just hope Elder Huan doesn't think that we're in league with the royal family. Sigh. Lin Hao sighed. They have known Huan Chuyu for many years, and this time Huan Chuyu's life was almost lost here. From the attitude of Huan Chuyu on that day, it seems that Kenglin Academy is now determined to break away from the other two academies. If it were not for Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries that need rest, the team from Kenglin Academy would have already left Qingshao country. After this time, they don't know when they will see Huan Chuyu again. They really don't want their friendship of many years to be affected by the royal family's affairs. Inscriptionist Guild Bailey Hongzhuang was resting in the house. The fracture of her rib is clearly not something that can be healed in a short period of time. She fears she will have to rest for a few more days before leaving the Qingshao Kingdom. Bailey girl, how are your injuries? Just when Bailey Hongzhuang was bored, Di Beichun opened the door and a familiar voice rang outside the room. Turning her gaze slightly, Bailey Hongzhuang saw Bai Jingtian, Ji Yunma, and Qin Qingwu walk in. We just heard about your injuries, so we came to see you. How is your health? Ji Yunma asked with concern. Although they didn't know each other for a long time, they were real, lifelong friends. Last time, Bailey Hongzhuang told them many ways to configure inscription liquid, which made their eyes shine. The inscription technique, which had not made progress for many years, had already made progress after Bailey Hongzhuang's hints. Therefore, they not only appreciated Bailey Hongzhuang, but also had a fondness for her like elders for their grandchild. They thought that there would be no problems in the finals of the Academy Exchange competition, but didn't expect such a big thing to happen. If Di Beichun hadn't just arrived, Bailey Hongzhuang's life might have been lost in the royal arena. When they first learned the news, the three old guys were all very angry. Nowadays, the royal family is becoming more and more useless, even attacking students from the academy. If they were there at the time, they would definitely stand up and stop it. But after finding out that Bailey Hongzhuang was fine, they focused their attention on Di Beichun. All along, they thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was excellent, and that ordinary men were not good enough for her. Bai Jingtian was still thinking of introducing her to some young heroes. They didn't expect to not need to worry about this matter at all. To their surprise, the young master of the Tiangang sect was actually Bailey Hongzhuang's husband. They were truly shocked, and they exclaimed that they didn't expect it. Seeing Bai Jingtian and his companions, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curved into a joyful smile. Although they have only known each other for a short time, Bai Jingtian and the other two people gave her the same feeling as those old guys from her previous life, as if they were her grandfathers. No problem. It will be back to normal in a few days, Bailey Hongzhuang said with a smile. The royal family went too far this time. I almost died of anger when I heard the news. Bai Jingtian couldn't hide his anger. Bailey Hongzhuang is a rare, good seedling. The royal family actually wanted to kill her. People with different interests cannot work together. As soon as the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom was mentioned, a hint of coldness appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Don't talk about them. Save yourself the pain. Yes, yes, yes. Ji Yumon nodded. The matter is over. Let's not bring it up again. Bailey girl, after taking your advice last time, I went back and experimented, and it was indeed successful. Qin Xingwu's face was beaming with joy. The method of configuring the inscription liquid that Bailey Hongzhuang mentioned had a significant difference from theirs. After some experiments, they found that the method mentioned by Bailey Hongzhuang was more appropriate, and it gave them a lot of help. That's good. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. Bailey girl, don't you plan to join the Inscription Masters Guild? Bai Jingtian asked. We three old guys are not young anymore. If you can join, we will nominate you for guild leader in Qingshao Kingdom and let you manage in the future. Gift. Inscription pen. Hearing Bai Jingtian's words, Deep Beichen at the side also had a look of surprise in his eyes. Previously, he had already heard from Xia Jiqing about Bailey Hongzhuang's talent as an inscription master. However, from the attitude of Bai Jingtian and the two others, it can be seen that they admire Bailey Hongzhuang to an extraordinary degree. Compared to the Alchemist Guild, the Inscriber Guild has fewer members, but their benefits are even greater than the Alchemist Guilds. After all, rare things are precious, and the number of inscribers is really too small. Although Bailey Hongzhuang is quite accomplished in the inscription art, with her current age and qualifications, she is unable to become the president of the inscription division. This status means that Bailey Hongzhuang could draw a lot of resources from the Inscription Masters Guild, which would be of great benefit to Bailey Hongzhuang. This is what many inscription masters want. Bai Jingtian so easily gave up the identity of the president of the Inscription Masters Guild to Bailey Hongzhuang. It seems that the Bai Jingtian and the two others not only appreciate Bailey Hongzhuang, but they also have a kind of paternal love for Bailey Hongzhuang. I am willing to join the Inscription Masters Guild, but given the current situation with the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family, I won't be staying here. Bailey Hongzhuang showed a trace of helplessness in her eyes. The biggest gain from this trip to Qingshao Kingdom was getting to know the Bai Jingtian and the other two seniors. If possible, she also hopes to have the opportunity to communicate further with Bai Jingtian and the other two in the future, but she has a strong disgust for Qingshao Kingdom, and she will definitely not stay here. Hearing this, Bai Jingtian also sighed. He understood that Bailey Hongzhuang was right. It can be said that Bailey Hongzhuang has completely fallen out with Qingshao Kingdom's royal family. If she still stays in Qingshao Kingdom, the royal family would likely regard her as a thorn in their side, leading to a lot of trouble in the future. The royal family's actions are becoming more and more unbearable. Bailey girl, if you have a chance in the future, come and see us three old men. Bai Jingtian spoke out. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded repeatedly. I definitely will. In my opinion, you don't need to participate in the assessment of Inscription Master. I'll draft your Inscription Master identity tomorrow and bring you your Calligraphy Master robe. It will be much more convenient to buy the materials needed for inscription at the Inscription Masters Guild in the future. If you go to other Inscription Masters Guilds for assessment, it will inevitably be troublesome. Seeing Bai Jingtian thinking of her so much, Bailey Hongzhuang felt a little flattered. Thank you, Elder Bai. Bai Jingtian smiled and waved his hand. Why are we talking about this between us? Ji Yunma and Qin Xingwu placed a slender brocade box in front of Bailey Hongzhuang, indicating that Bailey Hongzhuang should open it. Bailey girl, you came to Qingshao Kingdom and helped us three old guys a lot. We old guys don't have much to give you, So this inscription pen is a gift. Upon hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang hesitated for a moment, then immediately waved her hands and said, "This won't do. I can't accept it. Bailey girl, we three are all your elders. What's wrong with giving you a small gift? Quickly take it." Bailey Hongzhuang opened the brocade box and saw a black and shiny inscription pen in the box. With a slight movement of her mental energy, Bailey Hongzhuang could feel how good the performance of this inscription pen was. With such an inscription pen in hand, the success rate of her drawing inscriptions would also increase significantly. It's just that this inscription pen is too precious. Ask Bailey Hongzhuang. The inscription pen is very important to the inscription master, just like the alchemy furnace is important to the alchemist. A good inscription pen is very rare, and the inscription pen given to her by the three of them is undoubtedly very precious and is a rare and excellent product. For the inscription master, an inscription pen is very important. Please keep it well, Ji Yunma said with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang opened her mouth. Everyone knew how valuable this inscription pen was. She really couldn't just accept it like this. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was about to say something, Qin Qingwu waved his hand to stop Bailey Hongzhuang's words. "Bailey girl, don't say that you refuse. The three of us regard you as our granddaughter, and it is normal for grandfathers to give something to their granddaughter. If you refuse, it means that you don't want to treat us as grandfathers." Upon hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was deeply moved. By Jingtian and the others were really too good to her. "Thank you very much." Bailey Hongzhuang's face bloomed with a smile. If she still refused at this time, it would hurt the hearts of the three seniors. After seeing this scene, Deep Beichin, who was standing nearby, also had a hint of smile in his eyes. While Bailey Hongzhuang and others were conversing, Chu Jiu and the others also came to the inn. As Chu Jiu and the two others explained their intention, the expression on Huan Chuyo's face also changed somewhat. Since experiencing the events in the finals, he has come to understand many things. All the fame is meaningless, and he has also made a firm decision that he will never come to Qingxiao country again. "You mean that Nangong Aochen is seriously ill because Bailey Hongzhuang was poisoned? Do you mean to say that Nangong Aochen's serious illness is due to Bailey Hongzhuang poisoning him?" Huan Chuyu was somewhat skeptical. If Bailey Hongzhuang really did poison him, Nangong Aochen should have already reported this, but he has not received any news of it yet. Perhaps this is another case of the royal family framing someone. Chu Jue nodded slightly. However, this was said by Nangong Aochen when he was awake, so it shouldn't be wrong. "I don't know." Huan Chu Jue shook his head with a slight look of detachment on his face. He has no connection with the royal family anymore, and just hearing the word royal makes him uncomfortable. "Elder Huan, why don't you ask Bailey Hongzhuang?" Chu Jio wondered. Bailey Hongzhuang is still recovering from her injuries. If you're here just to inquire about her condition or to catch up, I welcome you. But if you're here to act as an ambassador for the royal family, then you can leave now. Huan Chu's face was slightly cold. As the vice principal, the thing he could not accept the most was someone threatening the lives of the students. The actions of the royal family of Qingxiao have already touched his bottom line, and whether Nangong Aochen is dead or alive has nothing to do with him. Looking at Huan Chuyo's resolute attitude, the three of them were very helpless. This was not unexpected. "Elder Huan, our friendship with you has been for so many years," Chenyu said slowly. "We are definitely on your side in this matter, but we have been in Qingxiao Kingdom for so many years, and the Emperor asked us to come. We are helpless. We just want to ask Bailey Hongzhuang a few questions. If she disagrees, we will not force it. What do you think?" Upon hearing this, Huan Chuyu looked Chu Jio and the others, and there was still a bit of unhappiness in his eyes. "Extraordinary, Bailey Hongzhuang. I'll let you meet Bailey Hongzhuang. As for the rest, I'll leave it up to Bailey Hongzhuang to decide," Huan Chuyu said slowly. He has known Chu Jio and the other two people for many years, and he also has a certain understanding of their personalities. He believes that they came only out of helplessness. After all, this matter is a problem between Kanglan Academy and Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family, and he is unwilling to hurt their relationship of many years because of it. After saying farewell to Qingshao Kingdom this time, he doesn't know when he and these old friends will be able to meet again. Hearing Huan Chuyo's words, Chu Jio and the others also breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Elder Huan was still reasonable and things weren't as bad as they thought. Okay, Chu Jio nodded. No matter what decision Bailey Hongzhuang makes, we will respect it. Huan Chuyo's complexion looked a little better. As the vice principal of the academy, he felt that he owed Bailey Hongzhuang a lot because of the exchange competition. He was unwilling to let Bailey Hongzhuang suffer any more harm. This time Bailey Hongzhuang was completely in charge. He didn't want Bailey Hongzhuang to make any decisions she didn't want because of his friendship with Chu Jio and the others. Huan Chuyu led Chu Jio and the others into Bailey Hongzhuang's house, and when Bai Jingtian and the others saw that Chu Jio and the others had also come, a look of surprise appeared in their eyes. I didn't expect you to come to see the Hongzhuang girl, Ji Yunma said with a smile. It was only a short time since Bailey Hongzhuang came to Qingshao Kingdom, but she has conquered many people with her strength. Chu Jio and the other two were equally surprised, but after hearing Ji Yunma's question, their expressions changed slightly. Bailey girl, how is her injury now? Chu Jio took out a white porcelain bottle and handed it to Bailey Hongzhuang. This elixir is very helpful for healing. Thank you, Master Chu. My injury is no longer a hindrance. Bailey Hongzhuang said hastily. She was equally surprised by the appearance of Chu Jio and the other two. The reason why Bai Jingtian and the other two came was because of their very good relationship between her and Bai Jingtian. As for Chu Jio and the other two, although they had some interaction during the alchemy competition, they were not very familiar. It seems that their main purpose for coming here was to visit the vice principal. After all, the vice principal has known them for many years and is good friends with them. They will leave Qingshao Kingdom in a few days, and it will not be so easy to meet each other in the future. After Xia Jiqing and the others saw so many masters visiting Bailey Hongzhuang, envy and emotion appeared in their eyes. Hongzhuang is really amazing to have so many masters come to see her. If other people saw it, they would probably be surprised beyond belief. Xia Jiqing's face was full of smiles. Hongzhuang was truly her idol, and everything about her was so extraordinary. A hint of envy appeared in Lu Qingyue's eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang was now a hero of Kanglin Academy, and almost everyone was extremely fond of her. Even masters who are rarely seen normally are eager to visit Bailey Hongzhuang. Such an honor is really not something ordinary people can have. Hongzhuang is not an ordinary person. The students of Lingyan Academy were stunned when several masters rushed to accept Hongzhuang as their apprentice. Zhang Yinfeng said with a smile. As a woman herself, she didn't feel the slightest bit of jealousy towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Perhaps it is precisely because she knows that she will never be able to compare with Hongzhuang, so she has no jealousy. Angry by Jingtian after some small talk, Chu Jio and the other two hesitated to speak. They did not expect Bai Jingtian and his two companions to be here. They understand the personalities of Bai Jingtian and others very well, and if they were to explain their intentions, it would probably provoke some contempt. Bailey Hongzhuang also noticed that Chu Jio and his companions were hesitant to speak. It seems that they did not come just to visit, but have something to say. Elder Huan, is there something you need? Bailey Hongzhuang spoke slowly. Her pitch-black phoenix eyes shone with a wise light of contemplation. She already had some guesses in her mind, but she wasn't sure if her assumptions were correct. Now Nangong Aochen's situation has become increasingly serious. She is confident in the poison she has administered and that absolutely no one else can solve it except for her. She believed that Nangong Oe must be impatient by now. Listening to Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Chu Jio and the other two exchanged a glance. Since they came for a purpose in mind, there was no point in hesitating any longer. Bailey girl, we heard that you gave a pill to His Highness, the Crown Prince, during the final. Chen Yu asked slowly. As Chen Yu finished speaking, The previously lively and joyous atmosphere in the room changed. All eyes turned to Chunyu, as people didn't understand the meaning behind his words. Chunyu, what do you mean by asking that? Bai Jingtian frowned. He had also heard the news that Nangong Aochin was seriously ill, but he didn't know that it had something to do with Bailey Hongzhuang. However, whether Bailey Hongzhuang was involved or not, there is no evidence. Could it be that Chunyu came to demand punishment? Elder Bai, I don't mean anything by it. I just want to ask if Bailey Hongzhuang has an antidote. As soon as these words were spoken, Xia Jiqing and others looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in surprise. Previously, they were overjoyed to hear about Nangong Aochin's sudden illness, thinking that it was the natural consequence of his wrongdoings and troubles that he had gotten himself into. They never imagined that it was all orchestrated by Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang furrowed her eyebrows slightly. She understood that this news couldn't be hidden forever, and Nangong Aochin would definitely speak out about it. However, she never thought that it would be Chu Jio and the others who came to ask her for the antidote. Beichen's face had already taken on a hint of coldness. He was determined to take the life of Nangong Aochin, but because Bailey Hongzhuang had already poisoned him, he didn't immediately take action. Now that the royal family dared to question Bailey Hongzhuang, this was something he could not forgive. Senior Chun, I'm wondering if your brain has been squeezed by a door? Ji Yunma's eyes flashed with confusion. From beginning to end, this whole thing was started by the royal family. Are you now lobbying for the royal family? If you came for the royal family, I suggest you don't say anything else and just leave. Qin Qingwu's eyes also showed a hint of disgust. They were only concerned with studying inscription art and had no fondness for members of the royal family. They regarded Bailey Girl as a granddaughter, and the royal family's actions undoubtedly made them very unhappy. At this time, Chunyu and others even came to ask Bailey Girl for an antidote. Isn't that asking for trouble? Looking at the attitudes of Bai Jingtian and others, the faces of Chunyu and his two companions also looked a bit unpleasant. If possible, they really didn't want to do such things for the royal family. Antidote, I don't have it. Elder Bai, Elder Ji, Elder Qin, this matter is not what you think it is. Chunyu explained helplessly, we only came to inquire because of the Emperor's orders, and we have no other intentions. As Chunyu's words fell, the slightly tense atmosphere also eased a bit. At least Chunyu and the other two were not here to make trouble. Bailey Girl, His Highness the Crown Prince, has already fallen into chaos. I wonder if you can provide an antidote? Asked Chu Jio. Just in the past few days, Nangong Aochin has suffered quite a bit. If the intention was to take revenge on Nangong Aochin, then the goal has been achieved. Bailey Hongzhuang, you decide this matter for yourself. Don't mind others. Huan Chuyu said slowly, as he didn't want Bailey Hongzhuang to do something she didn't want to do because of him. If it weren't for the long-standing relationship between him, Chunyu, and the others, he would have directly refused. What does Nangong Aochin have anything to do with them? Now that Nangong Aochin is seriously ill, he has come to seek their help. Prior to this, the royal family wanted to use the deaths of all of them as a stepping stone for Nangong Aochin. Bailey Hongzhuang gave Huan Chuyu a slightly surprised look. She thought that Huan Chuyu brought the three master alchemists in because Huan Chuyu had the same idea as them, but now it seems that this is not the case. Vaguely, she already understood that Huan Chuyu probably wasn't happy either. Indeed, I was the one who administered the poison, said Bailey Hongzhuang slowly. Upon hearing this, everyone's expression changed. Bailey Hongzhuang unexpectedly straightforwardly admitted it. The beautiful and refined face was full of calmness and indifference. From the beginning to the end, Bailey Hongzhuang never tried to hide it. Since Nangong Aochin wanted her dead, she naturally couldn't let Nangong Aochin live happily either. However, I don't have an antidote. Since she started making this poison, she had no plans to provide an antidote for anyone. If she didn't truly hope for the other party's death, she wouldn't have chosen to use this poison. From the moment she fed Nangong Aochin this pill, it was already destined that he was doomed. What does this mean? Lin Hao was a little surprised, not knowing whether Bailey Hongzhuang had no antidote or was unwilling to give it out. Since I have decided to poison him and want him dead, What's the point of preparing an antidote? Bailey Hongzhuang's rhetorical question left Chu Jio and the others in silence. Upon careful consideration, Bailey Hongzhuang's words did make some sense. The function of poison is to kill, and Bailey Hongzhuang was obviously determined to kill Nangong Aochin. So why bother to make an antidote? Now that you are safe and sound, it is better to turn your hostility into friendship and hand over the antidote, and you will have one less enemy. Chu Jio said earnestly. This scene was something she really didn't want to see. What Elder Chu said is wrong. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head slightly, but there was a wicked smile on her lips. Previously, it wasn't that the royal family didn't want to kill us. It was just that they didn't have the ability, so we've survived until now. This has nothing to do with the royal family. If it weren't for the appearance of Di Beichun, we would have already disappeared from this world. As for whether I kill Nangong Aochin or not, this is also my decision. If the royal family has the ability, Nangong Aochin will naturally not die. But if they don't have the ability, what does that have to do with me? Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was indifferent. Her eyes were absolutely determined. She had no mercy toward a guy like Nangong Aochin. Bailey girl, well said. Even if she handed over the antidote, the royal family would not be grateful to her for it. On the contrary, because what she had done had left an indelible stain on the royal family. She and the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom were destined to be at odds. If that's the case, why would she cultivate an enemy and make herself unhappy hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words? Everyone's expressions changed a little, and they felt that Bailey Hongzhuang's words were very reasonable. Even Chu Jio and the others, who had already planned their speech, were speechless after hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, because Bailey Hongzhuang had already seen through all of this. Di Beichun's eyes were full of admiration. His wife's intelligence is indeed not something ordinary people can possess. She didn't have the slightest bit of feminine weakness, which has reduced a lot of trouble. Xia Jiqing and the others were also full of admiration. They didn't expect Hongzhuang to be so domineering at this time, making it impossible for people to refute. Clap, clap. Bai Jingtian immediately applauded. He was also amazed by Bailey Hongzhuang's remarks. Bailey girl, well said. Bailey Hongzhuang's character is quite similar to his own. If you don't like it, you just don't like it, don't care about the rest. As an inscription master, even the imperial power cannot constrain him. If necessary, he could simply switch to another dynasty to reside. With the vastness of the world, surely there must be a place for him to go. Ji Yunma and Qin Qingwu also showed expressions of approval on their faces. If they were girls of the same age, facing such imperial power, they probably wouldn't have the courage to make such a decision. But Bailey Hongzhuang's resoluteness really made their eyes shine. After all, the Shangxian continent is a world where everyone relies on their own abilities. Chu Jio and the other two looked at each other. They also did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang to be so decisive. At such a moment, it seems that nothing they say will be of any use. Elder Chun, since Bailey Hongzhuang has already made a decision, don't force it. Huan Chuyu said slowly. Bailey Hongzhuang's decision did not exceed his expectations, and it was also the most correct decision. Thinking of this, Huan Chiyu's eyes could not help but fall on Lu Qingyue. Lu Qingyue's temperament is really too gentle, lacking the resoluteness that Bailey Hongzhuang had. At least, if this kind of thing were to fall on Lu Qingyue's shoulders, he was afraid Lu Qingyue would not know how to decide. Chu Jio's group nodded slightly. They had done what they were supposed to do, and the outcome of this incident could only be attributed to the royal family's erroneous decision. In that case, we will take our leave first, Chu Jio said slowly. Because of this incident, there was a bit of embarrassment between them and Huan Chuyu and the others. It might be much better to come back with a different identity next time. However, just when Chu Jio and the others were about to leave, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly, "Three masters, you'd better not get too close to Nangong Aochin." After the words fell, Bailey Hongzhuang withdrew her gaze, as she has already said everything she needed to say. It's just that when Chu Jio and the others heard Bailey Hongzhuang's words, there was a deep look of horror in their eyes. What does this mean? Don't get too close to Nangong Aochin. Is there something unusual with Nangong Aochin's illness? As soon as they thought of this, the three people's faces changed suddenly. It seems that they had oversimplified the situation. The expressions of Huan Chuyu and the others also changed slightly. Bailey Hongzhuang's words had already revealed a lot of information. Regret, Jian Qingxiu, compared to the shock on everyone's faces, Bailey Hongzhuang looked very indifferent. She has never been merciful to her enemies. At the beginning, Nangong Oe wanted the entire Kanglan Academy team buried with her because she ruined Nangong Aochin's plan to become famous. She has always been good at treating others in the same way as they wanted to treat her. Since Nangong Oe decided to do this, she would naturally not be polite. However, in the end, she was on the victor's side. Looking at the indifferent Bailey Hongzhuang, Di Beichen also had admiration and appreciation in his eyes. His wife has always been impeccable in everything she does. Even he can't help being frightened by this kind of poison. While Xia Jiqing and the others arrived happily, they could not help but feel sorry for Nangong Aochin and others. It is not good to offend anyone, but they just had to offend Hongzhuang. The consequences of this can only be said to be their own fault. Bai Jingtian and the others were very calm about this. They have lived long lives. What kind of things have they never seen? This kind of outcome is very normal for those full of hatred and malice. There is no cruelty or kindness. One's determination has already determined everything. After Chu Jio and the other two left the inn, the horror in their hearts still did not disappear. Because this is really amazing. With Bailey Hongzhuang's age and skill, to achieve this level is already sufficient to prove that Bailey Hongzhuang is extraordinary. This time, the royal family's decision was truly a big mistake. In the current situation, there is nothing we can do. Lin Hao said slowly. They had tried their best. Chu Jio nodded slightly and said, "Let's just tell the emperor this news. As for the rest, it's beyond our control." They only went to inquire out of respect for the care the royal family has shown them over the years. By doing this, they have already done all that they can. After all, even the royal family can't force them. The royal family really made a wrong decision this time, and the relationship between the three major academies has also been affected. Chu Jio sighed quietly and said, "Perhaps this was all destined to happen. If the academy exchange hadn't been suddenly rescheduled, none of this would have occurred." The outcome of the academy exchange meeting was unresolved, and both Jian Qingxiu and Song Hongxi felt very conflicted about it. This result was unexpected by all of them. The original purpose of hosting the Academy Exchange Conference was just to suppress Kanglan Academy. Now that Kanglan Academy has withdrawn directly, they don't know what to do. After seeing the strong attitude of the royal family, Jian Qingxiu had a vague sense of foreboding. Now everyone thinks that Lingyin Academy is the academy of the royal family. In the future, the weight of the royal family in Lingyin Academy will become more and more important, and he, the principal, will also be constrained by the royal family. Song Hongxi's attitude has also changed somewhat. It is undoubtedly good that Lingyin Academy has the strength it has today. However, if it loses its autonomy as an academy, it is not a good thing. He had always felt that Jian Qingxiu's actions were beneficial and harmless and could increase the influence of the academy and become more famous. But now it seems that the situation does not seem to be as optimistic as they thought. He needed to think about it carefully. Jian Qingxiu can no longer escape, but he still has a chance to escape. Jian Qingxiu also noticed Song Hongxi's thoughts, and his face became extremely ugly. But in the current situation, he couldn't say anything more. Powerful, Bailey Hongzhuang, after Nangong Oe learned about the result from Chu Jio and other two, his expression became a bit ugly. Although he anticipated this outcome, he still felt that there was a glimmer of hope. After all, the power of the royal family should not be underestimated. He did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang to be so decisive. As a result, he was left with no options. However, Chu Jio's final reminder stunned him. Stay away from Nangong Aochin? Could this mean that the poisoned Nangong Aochin was afflicted with was contagious? When Nangong Oe heard the news, he found it incredible. He had never heard of the existence of this kind of poison, and he didn't believe that a poison master could create such a poison. Otherwise, who would dare to offend the poison master? Once someone was poisoned, the consequence would be the extermination of the entire family. As for their attitude towards Nangong Oe, Chu Jio and the other two did not say anything more. They had said what they needed to say, and it was Nangong Oe's choice whether to believe it or not. In fact, Chu Jio and the others were also skeptical about this matter. A poison with this effect was really unheard of, but Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude was very serious, without a hint of deception. If this matter was said by someone else, they definitely would not believe it, but when these words were said by Bailey Hongzhuang, it quietly gained a little more credibility. Not for any other reason than it was Bailey Hongzhuang. So far, they had seen too many unbelievable things from Bailey Hongzhuang. Her abilities exceeded their imagination. What's more, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't need to deceive them. Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude was resolute. She wanted Nangong Aochen to die. If it was only for this reason, Bailey Hongzhuang could have used a poison that killed instantly instead of making Nangong Aochen struggle for so long. There are two possibilities for doing this. One is that Bailey Hongzhuang wants Nangong Aochen to be tortured to death, and the other is the possibility that Bailey Hongzhuang said. Once Nangong Aochen was poisoned, other people would continue to come into contact with him. As a result, the possibility of other people being infected would also greatly increase. Regardless of the reason, they all shuddered. Obviously, offending an enemy like Bailey Hongzhuang was a very unwise move. Bai Jingtian and the others did not stay at the inn for long, and after telling Bailey Hongzhuang to rest well, they left. Once they knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries were not serious, they felt relieved. Xia Jiqing and the others also left, leaving only Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen in the room. Di Beichen tucked in the covers for Bailey Hongzhuang, his fair and handsome face showing concern. With so many people coming to see you, are you tired? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly and shook her head. My injuries have already improved a lot. Don't treat me like an especially fragile patient. These things don't affect me much. As your husband, I just can't help worrying about you. Di Beichen smiled. His wife is truly strong. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang felt a sweetness in her heart. It was rare for her to have such time to spend with Di Beichen, and it made her feel very happy. Have all the matters been resolved during your return to the sect? Did you also obtain the 9th grade purple Lingji? The jet-black phoenix-like eyes sparkled with concern. Bailey Hongzhuang was very concerned about the situation of Di Beichen's cursed body. Nervous, Di Beichen nodded slightly and said, That's right, I obtained the 9th grade purple Lingji. Seeing Di Beichen's indifferent and simple expression, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with a hint of emotion. She had thought that it would not be an easy task to resolve the sex affairs and obtain the 9th grade purple Lingji, but Di Beichen was able to handle it so well. From the indifferent look on Di Beichen's face, it seemed as though he was only dealing with something very simple. However, she knew that this matter was definitely not so easily resolved. Otherwise, there would have been no need for Di Beichen to go there in person. She had a vague feeling that as long as Di Beichen took action, all problems would easily solved. As long as he is there, everything can be solved. Returning this time must have been very tiring. With her delicate and exquisite face showing concern and distress, she knew that everyone was impressed by Di Beichen's status, but they didn't know that it was also a kind of pressure. It was precisely because of his unusual identity that he had much more to bear than others. Nowadays, Di Beichen was often by her side, so it might be that he was under immense pressure. Feeling Bailey Hongzhuang's distress, Di Beichen's heart softened, and his right hand slowly grasped Bailey Hongzhuang's soft and boneless little hand. His handsome eyes were full of tenderness. I'm not tired. As long as I see you, I won't be tired. Hearing Di Beichen's sweet words, Bailey Hongzhuang noticed the seriousness deep in Di Beichen's starry eyes, and the smile on his lips were also filled with happiness. But, wife, what is the relationship between you and Mo Yunjue? Deep as the sea, his handsome eyes quietly showed a hint of tension. He didn't want to ask, but Mo Yunjue's attitude that day really made him feel threatened. Bailey Hongzhuang silently sized up Di Beichun, a hint of amusement rising in her heart. Over the past few days, Di Beichun had not asked her about Mo Yunjue. It seems that he couldn't bear it anymore. Feeling Bailey Hongzhuang's scrutinizing gaze, Di Beichun became even more nervous, afraid that the question he asked would make Bailey Hongzhuang feel that he didn't trust her. Although he had already sent He Mu to check information about Mo Yunjue, what he was more interested in knowing was his wife's attitude. Di Beichun felt nervous, which was completely non-existent in the past. Only when facing Bailey Hongzhuang did he have such emotions, because Bailey Hongzhuang's intentions were too important to him. Because he cares too much, he would feel nervous. If he had experienced this emotion before, he would have found it laughable. However, now he is deeply immersed in this emotion and unable to extricate himself from it. Seeing Di Beichun's nervous appearance, a smile slowly appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Mo Yunjue and I are just friends, nothing more. Bailey Hongzhuang spoke calmly. She had indeed always only regarded Mo Yunjue as a friend, without any romantic feelings. She was very clear that from the moment Di Beichun entered her heart, he was the one she would spend her life with, and she recognized Di Beichun's kindness towards her. She has never been a greedy person, nor someone who changes her mind frequently. As long as there is someone like Di Beichun who treats her sincerely, that is already enough. As Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, Di Beichun couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Especially with Bailey Hongzhuang's calm appearance, he understood that from start to finish, she had no other thoughts. Wife, are you angry? In the past, when I was in the Luoyan mountain range, I once had a chance encounter with Mo Yunjue. Later, when I came to the Qingxiao Kingdom, I happened to meet Mo Yunjue again. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled modestly and looked at Di Beichun. Despite Di Beichun's excellence, he was still worried about a romantic rival. Sensing Bailey Hongzhuang's playful gaze, Di Beichun's eyes also changed a bit. If it wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang, he wouldn't care if it was another person. All his emotions naturally changed after meeting Bailey Hongzhuang, and every frown and smile from Bailey Hongzhuang moved his heart. All along, he had always been aware of his own excellence. But in the presence of Bailey Hongzhuang, he did not have such arrogance. Because in Di Beichun's life, Bailey Hongzhuang is the person destined for him by fate. That's why all his emotions were tied to Bailey Hongzhuang. At that moment, when Di Beichun heard Bailey Hongzhuang speak so calmly and frankly, all the worries in his heart also disappeared. I just find Mo Yunjue's origins a bit strange. Facing the teasing eyes of Bailey Hongzhuang, Di Beichun pretended to be indifferent. As a mighty man, he was actually nervous about such a thing, which was indeed a bit damaging to his masculine image. However, in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes, all of Di Beichun's actions appeared even more adorable. Bailey Hongzhuang pretended to be serious and nodded. Indeed, it's a bit strange. Sensing Bailey Hongzhuang's smile, Di Beichun narrowed his eyes. His wife's courage had grown. She dared to joke with him now. The next moment, Di Beichun's face slowly approached Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang stared blankly at Di Beichun's handsome face approaching her little by little. She could even feel his warm breath at such a close distance. The smile in her eyes gradually disappeared, and a touch of blush quietly spread on her pretty face. It wasn't until Di Beichun's nose touched hers that Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but make sound. What are you going to do? Di Beichun looked at Bailey Hongzhuang's nervous appearance and chuckled softly. His face turned slightly and lingered by Bailey Hongzhuang's ear. Wife, you are still so shy. As soon as these words were spoken, Bailey Hongzhuang froze for a moment and looked at Di Beichun in embarrassment. Di Beichun, this guy is really wicked. Di Beichun chuckled. His wife's shy nature has not changed at all. I just like seeing my wife's shyness. Deep Bachin blinked. His already extraordinarily handsome face was now exuding a hint of charm and recklessness, filled with indescribable appeal. Bailey Hongzhuang bit her lip. She was indeed no match for Di Bachin in this respect, but she still had other ways. "I'm going to rest, so you should leave," said Bailey Hongzhuang, lifting her chin. Upon seeing this, Di Bachin's eyes narrowed. "Wife, are you angry?" Bailey Hongzhuang raised her chin, her expression unchanged. "I'm just tired." Di Bachin looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Even when his wife was pretending to be angry, she was still so adorable. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was joking, because he had already seen the uncontrolled smile in her eyes. In the next instant, Di Bachin moved a little closer to Bailey Hongzhuang. "Wife, why don't we rest together? Your husband is a little tired too." Di Bachin, "Hurry up and get out." Bailey Hongzhuang was helpless. This guy's shamelessness was as strong as a city wall. The fate of offending the master after Di Bachin left, Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Sure all gathered in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Their round, watery eyes all sparkle with slight smiles. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes changed slightly. She made a mistake. Next time Di Bachin came, she should put these three little guys into the ring of chaos first. Her image as a brilliant master of martial arts was all destroyed by Di Bachin. Three beasts blinked their small eyes and had thick smiles on their faces. The atmosphere was indeed different when Di Bachin was present. "Stop looking at me like that, or you won't have dinner tonight." Seeing that the three beasts continued to stare without showing any signs of restraint, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but resort to her ultimate weapon. Fortunately, these three beasts still had a weakness. Sure enough, after Bailey Hongzhuang said this, the expressions of the three beasts also changed, and they immediately restrained their gazes, not daring to continue staring. For a foodie, this is the most unacceptable thing for them. Xiao He and Xiao Bai walked up to Bailey Hongzhuang, and their watery eyes twinkled with curiosity. "Master, what kind of effect did the poison you gave to Nangong Aochin have?" Based on the words previously spoken by the master, they only knew that the poison was very powerful, so they were even more curious about what kind of poison it was. This is a highly contagious poison with terrifying effects. Nangong Aochin has been sick for at least a month, and people who have been in frequent contact with him during this period are likely infected. Bailey Hongzhuang remained calm as she spoke, recalling how the old guys in her family were surprised when she formulated this poison. Normally, she had kept this poison hidden away for future use. She would never use it regularly. But this time, the actions of Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family really offended her. At that time in the competition arena, she was very clear in her heart that although she fought desperately, the possibility of success was still very small. It was precisely because of this that at that time, she wanted the entire royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom to be buried with her. If she just wanted to kill Nangong Aochin, there were many kinds of poisons that could violently kill him. If she wanted to torture Nangong Aochin, there are also many methods available. However, she chose this method to make the entire royal family pay a huge price. Even though time has passed, the situation from before still remains vivid in her memory, and she has no intention of changing it. Upon hearing this, the three animals looked at each other and realized that their owner's methods were really extraordinary. Once you offend Master, your end is truly miserable. The royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom really asked for trouble, but this is also their own fault. Bailey Hongzhuang recovered from her injuries very quickly. With her own medical treatment and Di Bachin persistently feeding her medicinal pills, her recovery speed was very satisfactory. "My injuries no longer affect me. Let's leave tomorrow," said Bailey Hongzhuang slowly. Due to her injuries, they had delayed their departure from Qingxiao Kingdom for a number of days. Now that Nangong Aochin's situation was growing more and more serious, they could also feel the royal family's gaze on them increasing. Although this has no effect everyone, it still feels very uncomfortable. Upon hearing this, Di Bachin frowned slightly, with some concern in his eyes. Don't try to be strong. First recover from your injuries before we leave. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head slightly and said, I understand my body. It will be fine, and besides, I don't want to stay here anymore. Anxious, Nangong Oe seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's determination. Di Beichun thought for a moment. He understood that Bailey Hongzhuang was more worried about everyone. He had been together with Bailey Hongzhuang for so long that he also has a certain understanding of Bailey Hongzhuang's character. Making everyone bear it because of herself was obviously not what Bailey Hongzhuang wanted. Are your injuries really okay? The deep, dark eyes shimmered with a worried light. The road is bumpy. If you are affected by it, I will feel heartbroken. With Di Beichun's question, Bailey Hongzhuang's heart softened, and a sweet feeling spread through her heart. She understood how much Di Beichun cared about her. Don't worry, I'm sure nothing will happen, Bailey Hongzhuang said confidently. Although the journey was a bit bumpy, it wouldn't have too much of an impact. Her injuries had already recovered a lot, so leaving the Qingxiao kingdom was not a problem. Then, I'll go and tell everyone, said Di Beichun, stroking Bailey Hongzhuang's beautiful hair. His handsome features revealed a hint of warmth, and it was precisely because of Bailey Hongzhuang's personality that he couldn't help but feel distressed. After Di Beichun told everyone about this decision, they all walked into Bailey Hongzhuang's room. Hongzhuang, your injuries have not healed yet. Let's wait until your injuries are completely recovered before leaving. Xia Jiqing's face showed a worried expression. Although the recent attention from the royal family has made them somewhat helpless, with Di Beichun here, they did not have to worry about the royal family making any inappropriate moves. If it affects Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries, this is something they don't want to happen. Jiqing is right. You don't have to worry about us. It doesn't matter where we cultivate, Cui Haoyin said with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang had already done a lot for them. They couldn't let her be affected by them again. Although Gong Shaoqing and the others did not speak, their eyes showed the same concern. Looking at the concerned expressions on everyone's faces, Bailey Hongzhuang felt warm in her heart and smiled, saying, My injuries are no longer serious, so you don't have to worry about me. In the end, everyone agreed with Bailey Hongzhuang's decision. In fact, Bailey Hongzhuang has become the leader of their team. No matter what choices she makes, they will support her. Di Beichun and the others started to prepare, and they will leave tomorrow. They also had to prepare their horses. Seeing the movements of Di Beichun and the others, the members of the royal family were also very upset. Once Bailey Hongzhuang left, Nangong Aochin would be completely helpless. Nangong Oe's face was extremely gloomy. Nangong Aochin was his most beloved son, and he wanted to forcibly detain Bailey Hongzhuang countless times. However, when he thought of Di Beichun's identity, he felt helplessness. With the status as young master of the Tiangang sect, he really couldn't afford to offend. Otherwise, once Di Beichun got angry, the whole royal family might be implicated. He can't afford this cost. It's just that as he watched the increasingly emaciated figure of Nangong Aochin, his mood plummeted. Who would have thought that, as the emperor of a kingdom, he would be so helpless? Once Bailey Hongzhuang leaves, he will have no recourse. Thinking of this, Nangong Oe was about to collapse. He kept thinking of ways, if he couldn't seize this opportunity, then it would really be over. Between rivals and love. Confrontation, just as Di Beichun sent people to prepare to leave, Mo Yunjue also arrived at the inn. Upon seeing Mo Yunjue again, Di Beichun's expression was more indifferent compared to before. He is not a man lacking in self-confidence. On the contrary, he has absolute confidence in his own abilities. Earlier, it was just Mo Yunjue's sudden appearance that caught him off guard, which disoriented him a little. Bailey Hongzhuang had undoubtedly reassured him, so he had become more open and frank. Upon seeing Mo Yunjue, Xia Jiqing and the others smiled. Since coming to Qingxiao Kingdom, Mo Yunjue has helped him a lot, especially when he went against the royal family for them, but to be precise, for Bailey Hongzhuang. It is precisely because Mo Yunjue has feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang that everyone's expressions were somewhat strange, After all, they were all very clear about the relationship between Bewitching and Bailey Hongzhuang. When love rivals meet, extremely jealously appears. Regardless of whether it is Bewitching or Mo Yunjue, they all think they are both good people. This situation can only be resolved on their own. Are you leaving tomorrow? Mo Yunjue, dressed in black, was restrained yet handsome, with a hint of casualness in his indifferent expression. He asked Di Beichun without a hint of embarrassment. Di Beichun's attitude was equally indifferent. Yes, we have stayed in Qingxiao Kingdom for a while, and it's time to leave. Has Hongzhuang's injuries recovered? Mo Yunju asked. According to what he saw that day, it would take a while for Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries to recover. No fully, but she is more than halfway recovered. Xia Jiqing and others looked at each other in concern. They were worried that Di Beichun and Mo Yunjue might start fighting over a trivial matter. After all, everyone knows the identities of these two rivals in love. However, the current situation is clearly very different from what they had imagined. Both men were behaving very casually, as if they were just ordinary friends, which made them feel strange. I'm going to see Hongzhuang, Mo Yunjue said. Hearing this, Di Beichun's expression remained unchanged. He opened the door and walked into the room with Mo Yunjue. He has never been a stingy person. Mo Yunjue's help to Hongzhuang during this period is truly real, and he doesn't want Hongzhuang to feel that he is so petty. After Di Beichun and Mo Yunjue entered the room together, Xia Jiqing and the others exploded. Oh my goodness, I didn't expect that the attitudes towards each other would be so peaceful when they met. I was worried that they would get into a fight if they disagreed. Xia Jiqing patted her chest, her eyes full of worry. Zhang Yinfeng nodded deeply in agreement. I already knew something was wrong when Di Beichun and Mo Yunjue stood in front of Hongzhuang together that day. It was this calmness that surprised me the most. Cui Haoyin and Gong Shaoqing exchanged a glance. As men, they understood the real underlying situation. The calm between Di Beichun and Mo Yunjue was just a pretense. From a moment these two people met, a confrontational atmosphere had already taken hold. It's just that both of them can control their emotions and never show it. I don't think so. They have been comparing each other. Men care a lot about this kind of thing, said Bai Junyu slowly. As Bai Junyu's voice fell, Gong Shaoqing and Cui Haoyin also nodded. Bai Junyu was absolutely right. Are you worried about me? When Bailey Hongzhuang saw Mo Yunju, her exquisite and unparalleled beauty blossomed with a gentle and charming smile. She knew everything that Mo Yunjue had done and was very grateful to him. No matter what, Mo Yunjue's ability to do this for her was already a great act of kindness. If Mo Yunjue needed her help in the future, she would definitely not refuse. You've come, said Bailey Hongzhuang with a faint smile. Mo Yunjue nodded slightly, his gaze falling on Bailey Hongzhuang's no longer pale face. It seems that Bailey Hongzhuang had recovered quite well. Di Beichun sat down quietly on the side without speaking. This was the time for Bailey Hongzhuang to communicate with Mo Yunjue. Seeing that you're doing well puts my mind at ease. Mo Yunjue's eyebrows lifted slightly as a faint smile appeared on his face, but his deep, black hole-like eyes shimmered with a complex and profound light. I heard that you will be leaving Qingxiao Kingdom tomorrow. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded her head gently. We have stayed in Qingxiao Kingdom for quite some time now. It's time to leave. It's better to leave earlier. Nangong Aochen's illness is getting worse, and he probably won't be able to hold on for much longer. If you continue to stay here, there is the potential for danger. If you leave, you will have a brighter future. Mo Yunjue said slowly. Hearing that, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were deep and mysterious, and her beautiful and fair face showed a hint of worry. Aren't you going to leave Qingxiao Kingdom? She didn't know what Mo Yunjue's identity was, but she could guess Mo Yunjue's identity would not be simple. Otherwise, Mo Yunjue wouldn't be able to stay safely in Qingxiao Kingdom after what happened back then. Perhaps that was why she didn't feel much guilt towards Mo Yunjue. Are you worried about me? Mo Yunjue raised an eyebrow slightly, and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. After hearing what Mo Yunjue said, Di Beichan behind him unconsciously clenched the right hand holding his teacup. This guy really doesn't know how to behave. Bailey Hongzhuang was also surprised, but still nodded and said, "We are friends, so naturally I would care about you." Mo Yunjue had helped her so much, and she regards him as a respected friend. Now that Mo Yunjue is in danger, she would naturally be worried about him. Di Beichan quietly relaxed his hand holding the teacup, and the corners of his lips curled up in a happy arc. He dislikes his Hongzhuang so much. The color of Mo Yunjue's eyes gradually changed, but his smile still showed a trace of lightheartedness. "Don't worry, I will be fine." Bailey Hongzhuang deeply scrutinized Mo Yunjue with a glance. She could sense the confidence he had when he spoke those words. Thinking about it, what Mo Yunjue said was true. She really didn't need to worry. "That's good. Thank you for your help. If you need my help in the future, just let me know." The dark as ink phoenix eyes shone with sincerity and clear gratitude as she thanked him for his generous assistance. Without Mo Yunjue's help, the situation would have been even worse. Mo Yunjue stared at those pair of black, bright, and clear eyes. His deep, boundless eyes flashed with a hint of emotional change. His beautiful, thin lips lifted slowly, exuding a hint of sexy wickedness. Mo Yunjue smiled lightly and said, "Okay." Bailey Hongzhuang smiled gently. Perhaps this friendship came about in a strange way, but it was real. "I wish you a smooth journey. See you in the future." Mo Yunjue stood up slowly. His handsome and stern face exuded a sense of ease and indifference, but his final sentence was affirmative. Reborn Bailey Hongzhuang got up to see her off, but Mo Yunjue declined politely. Bailey Hongzhuang's current injury should be well cultivated, and she should move as little as possible. However, when Mo Yunjue turned to leave and passed by Di Beichan noticed Mo Yunjue's expression and immediately walked out with Mo Yunjue. Xia Jiqing and the others outside the room had expressions of surprise when they saw Mo Yunjue and Di Beichan come out together and walk downstairs without saying a word. Di Beichan and Mo Yunjue were completely incomprehensible to them. In theory, these two people should be like fire and water when they meet, but looking at the situation, it was completely different. After Bailey Hongzhuang walked out of the room, she saw everyone gathered and her clear eyes filled with surprise. "What are you all doing here?" Xia Jiqing moved to Bailey Hongzhuang's side. "Hongzhuang, what did you say to Mo Yunjue?" "Nothing much. I just thanked him for helping us." Bailey Hongzhuang replied calmly. Xia Jiqing looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, but she couldn't detect any trace of dishonesty or concealment from Bailey Hongzhuang's frank gaze and attitude. It seems that they were overthinking things. "I don't think the relationship between Di Beichan and Mo Yunjue is friendly. Now that the two of them have gone out together, could they be looking for a place to have a good fight?" Zhang Yunfeng asked suspiciously. As Zhang Yunfeng finished speaking, Cui Haoyin, Gong Xiaoqing, Dong Fangyu, and Bai Junyu all laughed. Women's thinking is different from men's. They can feel the tension between Di Beichan and Mo Yunjue, but both of them are outstanding, and it is unlikely for them to do something so irrational at this time. As for a beating, it may be possible in the future, but it is absolutely impossible now. "You two don't need to worry about it. That kind of thing won't happen," said Cui Haoyin as he patted Zhang Yunfeng's little head and chuckled in amusement. Zhang Yunfeng and Xia Jiqing looked at each other. They didn't understand what the four men were laughing at. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on Dong Fangyu, and she clearly saw a completely different attitude coming from him. It was as if he had been completely reborn. His energy and spirit had improved. Obviously, Dong Fangyu had recovered from the previous setback, becoming more active, more motivated, and mentally resilient. As the mentor said, as long as Dong Fangyu can bounce back from this setback, he will become a brand new Dong Fangyu, which will be of great benefit to his future. Obviously, Dong Fangyu has already felt these benefits. "Dong Fangyu, Have you fully recovered? Bailey Hongzhuang's pitch-black, bright, beautiful eyes flickered with a gleam of surprise as she smiled brightly. Dongfang nodded slightly, his eyes bright like stars. I'm fine now. You all worried about me. As long as you're okay, that's good. Your temperament has also changed, said Bailey Hongzhuang with a light smile. A change in a person's heart can also lead to a certain change in their appearance. As Bailey Hongzhuang said this, Xia Jiqing nodded repeatedly. Yes, I also feel that Dongfang Yu has become even more handsome than before. This time, Dongfang Yu is probably going to attract even more screams from the junior sisters when he goes back, haha. Zhang Yinfeng chuckled lightly. Although they had experienced various risks during their trip to Qingxiao Kingdom, the final outcome was not bad. Failure. Han Shilling, Di Beichen, and Mo Yunjue walked out of the inn without saying a word. Neither of them was in a hurry. Di Beichen knew that Mo Yunjue had something to say to him, but he didn't know what it was. The two walked all the way to the first floor, and after Di Beichen followed Mo Yunjue into the private room, he spoke up, "You could just tell me what's going on." Looking at Di Beichen's calm appearance, Mo Yunjue had a faint smile on his lips, but his deep black eyes had quietly become a bit cold. Di Beichen, since you want to be with Hongzhuang, then take good care of her and don't let her fall into danger. Di Beichen raised an eyebrow and said, "Don't worry, such a thing won't happen again." He had already secretly vowed that he would never let such a thing happen again. Thinking that he might have arrived too late this time, and Bailey Hongzhuang might have left him forever, he felt an indescribable suffocation. He couldn't afford such a price, so this was the only and last time. Listening to Di Beichen's words, Mo Yunjue sneered, "It seems that Hongzhuang hasn't told you about that matter yet." After Mo Yunjue's statement, Di Beichen couldn't help but furrow his handsome brows. "What do you mean?" Mo Yunjue looked at Di Beichen and said, "I know you're always excellent, but sometimes it's not a good thing. Please explain clearly what exactly happened." Di Beichen's expression slightly condensed. He understood that Mo Yunjue was not speaking nonsense and had a purpose behind his words. So, what else happened during his absence? Bailey Hongzhuang had never mentioned this matter to him. What kind of thing could it be? I've said before that Han Shilling's appearance is your downfall. If you can't handle Han Shilling well, I might be able to snatch away Hongzhuang from you. Mo Yunjue spoke slowly. He understood that Bailey Hongzhuang's feelings for Di Beichen, so he wouldn't interfere. However, if Di Beichen is not good enough to Bailey Hongzhuang, then he would not be polite. As soon as these words came out, Di Beichen had already discovered some clues. The last time he saw Mo Yunjue, he also mentioned Han Shilling to him, but he didn't take it to heart and just thought it was something Mo Yunjue casually mentioned. After all, he and Han Shilling had always been praised by everyone as a match made in heaven. It seems that things were not that simple. Han Shilling has already made a move, and she didn't hesitate to use the people of the Heaven Slayer House One to strike. Moreover, she sent 2 groups of assassins at once. Obviously, she is determined to get rid of Bailey Hongzhuang. Mo Yunjue's deep voice was vigilant. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't mention it because she didn't want to embarrass Di Beichen, but he would not let Bailey Hongzhuang suffer such grievances. There was a layer of waves in the handsome eyes as deep as the sea, but Di Beichen's heart was full of shock and turmoil. If Mo Yunjue hadn't told him this news, he might not know when he would find out. He didn't doubt what Mo Yunjue said, because there was no need for Mo Yunjue to deceive him. "Are you sure it's Han Shilling? Are you sure it's Han Shilling?" Di Beichen spoke slowly, thinking of his former junior sister, and a difficult-to-express emotion welled up in his heart. Mo Yunjue chuckled. "Whether you believe it or not is up to you. But if you can't even handle this kind of problem, I think you might as well let go." I won't let go. Mo Yunjue's eyes were like a black hole, and he couldn't see the slightest clue. As far as he is concerned, in this world, only Bailey Hongzhuang is a special existence. Other women are nothing more than skeletons with makeup. Even if he killed them, he wouldn't bat an eye. I won't let go. Deep Bei-chun abruptly stood up, without even taking a sip of the tea on the table, and walked out. However, as he walked outside of the private room, his low and resolute voice also reached the ears of Mo Yunjue. I won't give you the slightest chance. With these words, Deep Bei-chun strode decisively towards the outside of the room. Yes, he would not give Mo Yunjue a chance. He was negligent before, but he would make up for this mistake. He takes care of his wife, himself. No one could understand what Bailey Hongzhuang meant to him. As far as he is concerned, there is only one Bailey Hongzhuang in the world, and she's the only partner that he, Deep Bei-chun, has chosen for this lifetime. Only her. Mo Yunjue watched as Deep Bei-chun left, the smile on his lips gradually fading away, his eyes pitch black without any glimmer of light. He has always been a lurker, and no one has ever cared about his joys and sorrows. He has no attachment to life or death. Whether he's alive or dead, he feels no joy in living and no pain in dying. But now, Bailey Hongzhuang is the only person who means something to him. He does what he says he will do. If Deep Bei-chun doesn't take good care of Bailey Hongzhuang, he will definitely not let her go. When Deep Bei-chun returned to the inn, almost everyone could feel Deep Bei-chun's depression. Under the influence of such depression, everyone looked at each other in blank dismay, completely unaware of what happened. Sure enough, it's never a good thing when rivals meet. To make Deep Bei-chun show such an expression, this situation is really serious. Xia Jiqing looked at Deep Bei-chun and Bailey Hongzhuang. Although Mo Yunjue is a good person, she hopes that Bailey Hongzhuang can be with Deep Bei-chun properly. Zhang Yunfeng also shrugged. I don't know what happened. It's better for us not to talk about it. Gong Xiaoqing, Dong Fangyu, Bai Junyu, and Cui Haoyan all ate without saying a word. This is Deep Bei-chun and Bailey Hongzhuang's matter as a couple, so they didn't want to get involved. Bailey Hongzhuang also sensed the changes in Deep Bei-chun's emotions. She didn't know what Mo Yunjue and Deep Bei-chun had talked about. In theory, no matter what happened, it shouldn't have caused Deep Bei-chun to become like this. Unless, thinking carefully, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly thought of a possibility. It is impossible for Deep Bei-chun to be angry with her. It makes no sense for Deep Bei-chun to be angry with Mo Yunjue. In this case, there is only one possibility. He is angry with himself. When every other possibility is eliminated, there is only one possibility left. Han Xiling. Thinking of this, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't say much, but continued to eat the rice in the bowl. She didn't want to tell Deep Bei-chun about this. After all, it was a war between her and Han Xiling. Han Xiling has already taken action against her, and she also feels cold toward Han Xiling. If they meet again in the future and there is an opportunity, she will not show mercy. However, Mo Yunjue told Deep Bei-chun about this, changing the situation somewhat. However, this may not be a bad thing either, as she can better understand Deep Bei-chun's attitude sooner. Thinking about it, Mo Yunjue didn't want her to be wrong because of this, so he told Deep Bei-chun about it. She really didn't know how to thank Mo Yunjue for his concern for her. Shy, 3 beasts after the meal, Bailey Hongzhuang and Deep Bei-chun went back into the room together. Xia Jiqing and the others looked at the closed door with a hint of worry in their eyes. Could Mo Yunjue have directly declared war on Deep Bei-chun? Otherwise, Deep Bei-chun's mood wouldn't be so bad. Sighed Xia Jiqing. Dong Fangyu shook his head slightly. If it was just a declaration of war, with Deep Bei-chun's temperament, he would not be so angry. He had completely let go of his feelings, and only outstanding men like Deep Bei-chun and Mo Yunjue were worthy of Bailey Hongzhuang. He would be the better man. Hearing this, Zhang Yunfeng was stunned. Really? He wouldn't be so angry as to declare war directly. What exactly did Mo Yunjue say to Deep Bei-chun? I don't know. Cui Haoyan shook his head. Wars between men can be very frightening. You guys don't have to worry. There won't be any problem between Deep Bei-chun and Bailey Hongzhuang. Rest early tonight. We will set off tomorrow. Gong Xiaoqing looked at everyone helplessly, but he also understood that all of this came from everyone's concern for Bailey Hongzhuang and Mo Yunjue. Everyone looked at each other in silence and felt that Gong Shaoqing was right. There was no point in worrying. As soon as Bailey Hongzhuang entered the room, she was immediately cornered by Di Beichen, who pressed her against the door. Before Bailey Hongzhuang could finish her sentence, Di Beichen's handsome face rapidly filled her vision, and his lips pressed against hers. The warm touch was soft yet domineering. This kiss was different from Di Beichen's usual gentleness. It was filled with dominance and possessiveness, crushing her lips, turning and twisting as he greedily savored her sweetness. Bailey Hongzhuang froze, but she could feel Di Beichen's crazy, suppressed emotions. Her arms slowly wrapped around Di Beichen's neck. Her pretty face flushed shyly as she cooperated with Di Beichen. Di Beichen's original violent and nervous emotions slowly calmed down after feeling Bailey Hongzhuang's gentle response, but the desire and hope in his eyes deepened. His wife just made him feel like he couldn't stop, and every time he got a little bit, he always wanted more. Her rose-like red lips were so alluring that they seemed to be dripping with dew. Her crimson face was tinged with shyness and uncertainty, and the fair skin on her neck, faintly tinted with a blush, were irresistible. The next moment, Di Beichen immediately hugged Bailey Hongzhuang around her waist and came to the bed. As for those three beasts, they were already so embarrassed when they saw this scene that they didn't know what to do. This passionate scene is really not suitable for children. The three beasts entered the ring of chaos immediately and maintained the same posture, covering their eyes and facing the wall, thinking about it. Di Beichen gently kissed Bailey Hongzhuang's lips. The tenderness in his eyes could almost melt everything. His wife can only be his, and no one else can have designs on her. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were blurred, looking at that handsome face as beautiful as a god's shrine. Her eyes were full of tenderness. Di Beichen kissed her passionately, lightly kissing every inch of her lips. He was deeply intoxicated by her faint and charming fragrance. With his big hands moving down, Bailey Hongzhuang was dazed and confused. All of this was strange to her, and with Di Beichen, she couldn't bear to refuse. When Di Beichen's hand touched something soft, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but freeze. Her right hand also grabbed Di Beichen's big hand, and her clear eyes showed a trace of panic. My wife, I'm not stupid. Sensing the changes in Bailey Hongzhuang's body, Di Beichen also noticed the flash of panic and tension in her eyes. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang was like a cute little white rabbit in his arms, so endearing, available for anyone to pick up. Di Beichen regained a trace of rationality. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was not mentally prepared, and his attack did catch her off guard. He took Bailey Hongzhuang into his arms, felt her trembling, and his heart ached. My dear, you are the most important person to me. Di Beichen's voice was low, like a murmured confession. Never leave me. Bailey Hongzhuang leaned against Di Beichen's chest and felt the worry in his words. She nodded slightly and said, I won't leave you. She didn't know why Di Beichen had these worries, but she only wanted him to feel at ease. Di Beichen hugged Bailey Hongzhuang tightly, but his movements were exceptionally gentle. He was too impulsive today, and Hongzhuang's injuries were not completely healed yet. Wife, did assassins attack you before? Di Beichen's gaze regained its composure. The reason he lost control of his emotions was because he understood that what Mo Yunjua said was not wrong. If he doesn't handle the issue of Han Shilling well, he might really lose Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang had asked him this question back then, and he had always thought that Han Shilling would not do such a thing. But if all of this was true, then he had no choice but to take action. Bailey Hongzhuang thought about it for a moment, then nodded slightly. That's right. Di Beichen already knew that, so she had no need to conceal it. In fact, she also didn't know enough about the assassin. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's confession, Di Beichen's eyes darkened, and his expression turned a bit cold. Wife, I didn't expect Shilling to do such a thing. Di Beichen's brows were already furrowed. It seems that the junior sister in his mind was not really a junior sister. He had never paid attention to what Han Shilling was hiding. In the past, he had always practiced with Han Shieling in the sect. At that time, Han Shieling clearly didn't have such scheming intentions. It had been 3 years since he left the Tiangang sect. It seems that during those 3 years, Han Shieling had changed a lot. He shouldn't continue to view Han Shieling with the previous perspective. It's just that he hadn't wanted to believe it. Seeing that Di Beichen did not hesitate to believe that Han Shieling was responsible for this, Bailey Hongzhuang was also surprised. After all, Di Beichen did not have such an attitude before. How can you be sure that it's Han Shieling? Her pitch-black eyes were tinged with a hint of surprise. Although she also believed that Han Shieling was responsible for this matter, she had no evidence yet. Di Beichen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with shame. His wife, in order to not make things difficult for him, didn't even mention such a thing. Speaking of which, his previous attitude must have made Bailey Hongzhuang feel very helpless. My wife, I'm not stupid. With just this simple sentence, Bailey Hongzhuang already understood. She already figured it out. How could Di Beichen not understand? Did you meet with Mo Yunjue back then? Even though Mo Yunjue didn't say anything, Di Beichen immediately figured it out. If it weren't for this, Mo Yunjue wouldn't have known about the appearance of the assassin. And with Han Xieling's personality, once she acts, she is sure to destroy Bailey Hongzhuang. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.